Thanks for staying with us, guys, as we are joined by Rockett's top laner, Zazas, after that win versus the Copenhagen Wolves. Tell me the game plan going in for Picks and Vans.
Oh, well, we didn't expect Wukong at all. We were really surprised by that. What's more, he should lose lane to Trundle, but I think it came out that they just wanted to swap, and it really gave them advantage early on.
So how did the matchup, eventually play out? You said you weren't expecting the Wukong. It's the first time we've seen him in the top lane. Do you think it was a smart pick in the current meta?
No. He had advantage, but he didn't do anything with that. And although I was like 40 creeps behind, I just 1 versus 1 and could push him under the turret, so it was fine. He wasn't tanky, he wasn't doing much damage, so I didn't like that pick at all.
Yeah, do you notice if you all tab that he built Hex Drinker? And do you at that moment realize, oh, I'm just going to fight him?
Well, we were like losing 0-6, and at what point, I think it was Vander, he's saying, why the Wukong bought Hex Drinker? We were starting to laugh, because it had no sense at all.
Well, it ended up working out in favor of Rockets. You struggled a lot in the early game, and you managed to pull it back as the game went on. At what point did it turn? At what point did you regain control of the match?
It's hard to say, because there were so many team fights that I can't say there was one moment. There was like 3 team fights in a row that we somehow won. I still have no idea how we managed to do that, but maybe if I watch replay, I could replay to that.
As a top laner that has no idea how you won the fight, what was communication like then on the team?
Oh, just screaming Gragas, Gragas, or Caitlyn, stuff like that.
How is it now? Are you guys going more comfortable into going in these matchups knowing that you had a couple losses, you could bounce back? Are these matches getting harder for you, or is it getting easier?
Well, it's pretty much the same. All teams are playing really well right now, and everybody can win versus everybody or lose, so it's pretty much the same.
Well, I want to talk a little bit more about some of the other champions that you pulled out for this game, the Vi and the Yasuo. First time we've seen that combination from you guys on the stage. Is it something you've been scrimming? Is it something you prepared just for this matchup? Or, why did you run those champions?
Well, last time we played Yasuo like 3 weeks ago. So in the pick phase, we were like, over, what do we want to play? I don't know, I would like to pick Yasuo, but I didn't play him in 3 weeks. So but we picked him after all, and it paid off.
That's quite lucky. It doesn't always work out that way. Let's step back from the games for a little bit. We just seen the feature on Rocket yesterday where we've seen the gaming house, and they've introduced Veggie now as your coach, and he's actually played on old KMT, Nexus, blah, blah, blah. Talk to me a little bit about the new setup, the house and having Veggie.
Oh, we don't have our gaming house yet. We should move there next week, so we can train ever harder. And Veggie is really helpful. I don't think so. We would be on the first place with Gambit right now if there wasn't Veggie.
So how does he help you when it comes to Picks and Vans? What kind of team are you? Are you a team that just builds your own comp and doesn't look at the other team, or do you strategize against a team specifically?
Most often we just prepare bans, all of them. And pick phase, we often, we are thinking about picks while we are picking, because sometimes we can just predict what will come up. Like today, there's Wukong, and we had no idea about it, so you can't prepare for pick phase.
Well, I think Rocket as a team do very well. You guys all have multiple champions that you do perform exceptionally with. How has it been now transitioning, playing on the LCS? You've been now 5 weeks, 6 weeks on the stage and getting used to it. There's a lot of hype around Rocket. How does it feel? What's the mood like within the team?
Well, it feels great. I don't know what to say, just it feels great. I didn't expect that we'll do so good. If I had to bet on our team before the LCS, I would give like 4th, maybe 5th place.
Wow, well, you guys overreaching. I've got one more question about this now. How do you set your sights? How do you now stay focused as a team? If I remember correctly, you actually said in the feature yesterday, we have nothing to be proud of because it's just the split. MYM started strong and did poorly. So how do you as a player and Rocket as a team set your targets?
Well, now we aim for the top. Every team should do that.
What do you think is the way for you guys to keep doing what you're doing? Because I was very interested, and in the beginning you were pulling out all these weird picks, and I was wondering if it was stemming from things you had practiced, or maybe being afraid going up against teams and pulling out real things, strange things. Because now you seem to stray away from that a little bit.
Well, it's not so easy to to come with something new that will work. We all the time working on something new every day. We are checking some new champions in different compositions and so on. But sometimes you just have to stick to the meta to win.
All right, so the next game coming up here, last game of the LCS for now, Challenger Series coming up after that, of course, is Gambit versus SK Gaming. Trevor, who are you calling it for?
Ooh, this is a tough one. I think SK have been performing significantly better with each game. If Gambit brings their A game, they should have the edge, but I feel that SK actually has the ability to pick up a win here.
That is...
I have to admit that SK is doing really good recently, and I just can't say who will win because it's so hard right now.
It's going to be a very close matchup. Thank you very much. Congratulations once again. And now let's get back over to D-Man and the Fee Show.
Thank you very much, Shocks and Quick Shot. Fantastic words coming out from Zazas there, really giving us an in-depth look into Roccat. So, the next match, you just heard their predictions. It is going to be SK Gaming facing off against Gambit. And SK Gaming really have pulled themselves together as a team with another fantastic performance yesterday, beating out Fnatic.
And SK Gaming, they are looking like a completely new team. They're not scared at all, and overall, everything is working for them at the moment. And we have to highlight the mid laner, Jessis. He's been playing better and better, and you know, he's still having focus on the very farm-heavy champions, but they work for him and SK because Svenskjørn is putting so much pressure on the lanes early that Jessis can just farm away in the mid lane, and then he can get really, really strong once you get to this team fight and have like a huge impact. And we saw his Orianna as well. Every single time there was a fight and he could land a shockwave on multiple people, he managed to do it.
Yeah, fantastic, fantastic performance. And, you know, we can't talk about SK Gaming without mentioning Candy Panda because he pulled out Vayne twice now and it just works for him and SK.
And the funny thing is, Candy Panda, he said yesterday that SK Gaming likes to play this AD carry focus style with the Vayne, where they, you know, do everything to make Vayne farm and protect her. But the rest of Europe is saying that AD carries, they are weak, they can't carry games. So it kind of goes, you know, against this, and it really shows how much SK also believes in Candy Panda. And you know, his stats are not impressive on it, but just the amount of pressure he gives to the map or to the team, just by the fact you want to kill this Vayne in team fights, and also the split pushing he's doing.
You know, and he can carry that hard, he just doesn't need that pillow. The back of the J gives it across to Scott. Gambit, of course, well, they had a bit of a shock result last week up against the Super Hot crew, but yesterday we saw them grinding out that victory up against Millennium.
It was a very hard game, actually, where Gambit had to do full focus on split pushing. We had the full damage Renekton on Darien, and we also had the LeBlanc on Alex. And yeah, Alex was back on an assassin. He was making plays all around the map. He didn't always manage to pick up a kill, but at least, you know, he forced someone back, and he was constantly, you know, applying pressure to Millennium.
So is there actually a weakness to this Gambit team right now?
Gambit's weakness is the early game. Because the game, or like the early game issues for them, are the fact that they give up first blood in 8 out of 11 games. And that is a huge deal. And every single game they have lost is the same deal, where they fall behind early, then they have a team fight around, you know, 20-25 minute mark, they lose it, and simply from there on, just get completely out-snowballed and can't really come back.
And you know, I think back across the history of Gambit, and that actually is completely right. That I don't recall them ever really coming back from a situation where they've been put under pressure. Once they go under it, they sort of go into that turtle, that solo mentality.
But it's also because the players, they all, you know, we have Genji, every time he's behind, he goes out to this lane, he just starts farming. He doesn't join for any team fights, and the other teams can punish him for this. They can set up fights everywhere. They know Genji is not going to join. They also know Darien wants to farm him for himself. So, you know, Gambit kind of split up when they are behind and just want to farm up everyone and then be strong that way.
We'll see how it works out. SK Gaming, they're coming into this rematch against Gambit as much more confident team, but according to Alex Sitch, this battle will come down to the team whose AD carry can kill the fastest.
Well, we played Gambit already. There wasn't a time where we really lacked a good mindset. So now going into the next match with Gambit, I think we are more confident and we can beat them.
And we beat Gambit in scrims a lot, actually. We just have to take what we do in scrims and actually do it in the real match.
SK always playing like strange things, like Tristana top lane, Blitzcrank, Gamumu compositions. Like, I don't understand, but it's sometimes hard to play against them. So Genja has a pretty unique playstyle. He's playing Jinx and Lucian. It's not like he's innovating much right now. He's just playing the standard AD carries, and I know how to beat them.
I think that The problem is it's not AD carry versus AD carry, so most of the time your AD carry is killing enemy's team and their AD carry kills your team, so it will depend on which AD carry will kill your team faster.
So what do you make of these two, the Candy Panda Genja combo? I mean, Candy Panda, he's been around in the scene for just as long as Genja. There's no really experience advantage over these teams. And, you know, he's said in the past, if I want to win, I go for Vayne. It's worked out many times. And he mentioned yesterday in the interview after the victory over Fnatic, the fact that SK Gaming is happy to actually base the team around him, almost like a CLG style with Doublelift.
And that's the difference between these two. Candy Panda, he wants to be the guy who carries the entire team. Genja, he's more of a team player. He's very focused, you know, on getting farmed early game. And then when he joins the team fights, he has this perfect positioning, and it's very hard to deal with. Candy Panda, he's more, I want to make plays. I want to take this Vayne, I want to split push and force someone to come up here and then kill them. Again, we saw in the game with Fnatic yesterday, whenever Source tried to come down and stop him, he just went on him and killed him. Genja, on the other hand, is farming and then team fight based.
Yeah, and the problem is he just sometimes just disappears out the game and continues farming a little too long. Let's check out those starting lineups, though. On the blue side, it is going to be SK Gaming. That means Freddy122 will be the top laner. Sven Skeren is in the jungle. Jez is in that mid lane. Candy Panda, the AD carry. And N-Rated is the support.
And on the red side, we have Gambit Gaming with Darian in the top lane. We have Diamond in the jungle. Alex in the mid lane. Genji as the AD carry. And Edward on the support.
So what are we expecting? Picks and bans are going to be coming up in just a few moments. What do we think? Are they going to be targeting, maybe going towards those AD carry bans?
I mean, we could actually see a Vayne being banned out. Candy Panda said he know how to deal with all these standard AD carries that Genji are playing. And the bot lane from Gambit has been very up and down. They gave up first blood in a lot of games. And if they're playing versus this Vayne, give up a first blood or give up some early, you know, easy farm for Candy, we've seen how much he can carry on it. So I could see that one being banned away.
Well, of course, that's the AD carries. And coming into this match, we really chose a different angle to go. We wanted to look at two players who have been doing exceptionally well for their team. And, of course, that is the two top laners, Freddy and Darian.
Yeah, and both these players, they share the same play style and the same champion pool. They love to be in the front line, and you know they always want to draw all the attention from the enemy team, so the rest of their team can do something and maybe get a dragon. We've seen Darian countless times doing this, where he forces everything on him, and then Gambit can just pick up the dragon. And the current meta really suits both of them because they play perfect with these tanky champions, with these split pushing champions, and if the meta stays like this, I actually see them doing really, really well throughout the entire split.
So with that in mind, do you think the top lane may be one of the focuses with the bans? Do you maybe they're going to try and knock them off their stride? Maybe go for a Renekton ban?
Yeah, Renekton ban is definitely a possibility. We have seen the Renekton being picked by Freddy. He goes his standard double Doran's blade and just focusing on constantly winning the lane.
He goes double Doran's and a Doran's shield. So he starts with a Doran's shield, then goes for the double Doran's. Yeah,
exactly. And it's like full lane dominance to try and shut down the enemy mid laner. I mean, enemy top laner. We have seen though Darian deal with Renekton before. We've seen him pick Trundle, we've seen him pick Mundo, get the farm he needed, and then outscale them. So, you know, either they're trying to bait him into this Renekton and think Darian can deal with him, or they just want to simply ban it away.
Well, here we go. Picks and bans underway. Evelyn being banned out by SK Gaming away from Diamond. Haven't seen it for the last few days. Elise is going to be taken away. Has snuck through in the last few games. It's a somewhat varied success.
Yeah, but against a jungler like Svenskeren, who loves to be very aggressive early, you don't want to give him Elise. Simply too much power in his hands. And again, he's been playing Pantheon, Wukong, Lee Sin. He has a lot of things to fall back on. So the SK might actually pick away something like Lee Sin and make sure Diamond isn't getting it now that Evelyn is also banned.
Well, Alex is not going to be picking out LeBlanc this time around. Has been taken away. There is the Kassadin ban. A very happy Kassadin still continues.
It's barely worth noticing the Kassadin ban. Yeah. It's every single game so far. Kazzak's been taken away. Very smart. And also the LeBlanc to simply shut down the assassins here from Alex. They're still set open. He played it before and he actually did really well on it.
We'll see which way he goes with this one. It does leave a lot of those top laners open. The AD carries, we've been talking all about those. It also leaves a lot of junglers available. Remember, Sven Skeren on Pantheon worked out very well for him. Maybe they're going to ban that one away. We'll see what Gambit's final choice is in the next 2 seconds. There we go. It's going to be Vi.
Take away the Vi. Maybe they want to have SK picking the early jungler here so they get 2 picks on Gambit's side. And he was left open. He's been banned quite a few times. We've seen him raid on it. He loves to make the plays, and he's also one of the shot callers.
It's interesting that they go for that. And of course, I was about to say, you know, we haven't seen Eddie on it, but I do cast my mind back to Joe calling out that big 4-man Tibbers in the Baron pit. It was one of our LCS big plays. And It does mean, though, that Kale has been left open, and Gambit are considering this one.
Yeah, but another thing about the Annie pick, just to go back to this, she's very, very strong versus Jinx. Genja loves to play Jinx, but it's so hard for him to deal with Annie due to all the CC she can bring, and also the high range to poke him early in the laning phase. So maybe Gambit is thinking, twice about what to pick for AD carry. Lucian is also open. Caitlyn, not expecting to see Genja on that one, but yeah, the Kale was left open. If the Lug is winning, we know how strong she is late game.
We heard from Darian yesterday in the interview, Swag Lord Red Pants, as the Gambit like to call him, because he's in his comfy pants. He's one of those players that doesn't really care what he's wearing. Currently, it looks like it's going to be Genja's Lucian that they're talking about instead of going for that Jinx. This could be a counter straight away because of that Annie.
It's simply, I believe it's due to the Annie. He doesn't want to take the chance. It's so hard to position yourself because of the fact there's a possibility of a flash tippers to simply lock you down. Now, with the Lucian and also with the Kale, they've locked them up two of the very strong champions who scales well into the entire game and obviously scales well. Let's just say more for Kale. She's just going to go completely insane mode in the end.
Well, we saw Froggen trying hard to carry Alliance on it earlier on today. Didn't quite work out. He almost took down that Nexus, so taking the turrets, just ran out of minions. Look at these champions being picked up by SK, though. It could well be another Svenska and Pantheon.
And here's what SK Gaming can do. Now they have Alex, possibly Alex on the Kale. This is not an assassin where he's gonna, destroy his lane and then roam around. It's more where he needs to farm up. With the Pantheon, a lot of early game aggression from SK Gaming, they might be able to shut down Gambit early. Just as we talked about before, Gambit is not very good early game wise, and if they fall behind, they have a hard time coming back.
I wonder whether Darian maybe has a counter to that Trundle. We'll see what he goes with. SK Gaming are going to lock in those two champions. They certainly took the full time allocation to do that. And this right here being hovered over, this is a champion we know from our little background bit of data Diamond has actually been thinking about in the jungle.
Yeah, he's actually been playing it in scrims as well. He's been practicing this champion.
It's Skarner, by the way, I should say. I'm pretty sure everybody knows what the icon is, but you never know. It hasn't been seen for a while.
No, the thing with Skarner was he fell out of favor when they changed so you couldn't flash ulti, like you couldn't grab someone who flashed with your ultimate. You could that before, so even though if you click it on them and they flashed away, you would still grab them and pull them back.
You used to be able to back to base with it as well.
More or less. Once they removed that part, Skarner kind of fell out of favor. He has the issue, he's a bit of a slow jungler still, and also he needs to get, very close to apply his slow. The thing about him though, with the Spirit Stone changes, he's going to be able to get a lot of mana back when clearing the waves, and he's going to be able to just farm all the time.
So, Skarner making his first appearance in the European LCS here for Diamond in the jungle, and of course Thresh also being picked up for the 4th consecutive game, this time for Edward.
And it's a champion he loves to play, and it's a champion also Genja loves to play with, because it provides him so much, safety. Just the fact knowing you have this lantern to, back you out, and we also have the hook from Edward to try and set up plays. If they can manage to make a combo where Skarner comes in through the lantern of Edward, it's very hard to escape in the lane, especially also because, well, Caitlyn is open, but the Lucian is gone, which is one of the most mobile ones. So maybe he's going to think about, yeah, exactly.
I was wrong, of course, because Thresh was banned in the last game. That was just so used to seeing Vander on it, and just expected it. But this is what we talked about. Top of show, top of the game, Candy Panda. And you can see he's considering it. He's actually pondering his options here. He's got Vayne selected, but he doesn't look convinced himself. It looks like he will be locked in, along with that Ziggs for Jezzes.
And he really believes in his Vayne play in the lane. They're not even, okay, last time they actually tried to lane swap, but they were forced into 2v2 anyway, and they managed to keep even in farm. If he can do the same versus Lucian, he's going to be so strong. And yeah, the farm-heavy mid laner for GSS, we see it again and again. He just want to be able to constantly wave clear, constantly get farmed, and then get really strong once the team fight starts. And versus the Kale, it's more or less a matchup of just pushing both of them. I feel like Ziggs has a little more pushing power, or like at least damage-wise, onto Kale in the early game.
Eddie playing with the crowd once again here, wondering what Darian is going to head towards. Don't think it's going to be the Teemo. It is going to be up against a Trundle, whichever way it goes. So we'll see what Darian's decided to cook up in that top lane. Could be Lissandra. We saw him earlier on. Of course, it was Mima that pulled it out. But the crowd love it. It's the Warwick being locked in.
It is the Warwick, and look at just the CC they can bring in here when they start a fight. Warwick goes in, locks down the target. Skarner walks up to this target. Once the Warwick stun is gone, they grab it and they pull out. And it has a 100% win rate on Warwick in the entire EU LCS. That is pretty insane.
And that's 3 times. This is going to be the 4th time I believe he's played. We saw Kevin on it once, and we've seen Darian on it twice. So it's working wonders, this Warwick, mate, it's that secret pick. I know you. You are not sold in this Warwick pick.
Oh, I think actually it's good. The first time I saw it, I was kind of trying to get my head around how it worked, but now I like it, and I really like it in this combo again, because the amount of picking they can do. Look at the Vayne. If Vayne doesn't have like a Banshees or something to avoid getting hooked in or pulled in or stunned by Warwick and then hooked in afterwards, how is she going to survive team fights?
And you think of the crowd control that now Gambit have. I mean, the Warwick Infinite Duress, you've got Skarner coming in, locking you up. You've got the Qs, of course, from Kayle, which is always going to slow you down. The Thresh hooks. There's a lot of CC on that Gambit team.
And that's the thing. If everyone just piles onto the target they pick, they can kill this target. Completely CC, just lock it down, and with Kayle late game, you know, the burst damage she can do, it's going to be very hard for SK to survive it. On the other hand, though, it's going to be more or less Trundle versus Lucian in team fights, and that's really in favor of the Trundle. It's going to be very hard for him to shut him down unless Kayle actually helps Lucian out to kill him.
Well, this is where you guys at home get to play caster and call the game. According to LollySports.com, 85% of you have gone with Gambit, so big vote for Gambit there, no surprise. They're big favorites.
They are the favorites, but we have to keep in mind SK Gaming has been playing really well the last few weeks. We also heard Sasso say it here in the interview how good SK actually are. So I think we're in for a very even match.
Yeah, we'll see how this one works out. Of course, as the game loads in, remember Gambit are chasing the pack right now, chasing that #1 spot. Roccat have managed to get themselves there all on their own. It's down to Gambit to keep even with them at the end of week 5. SK Gaming themselves, well, they are looking to close out a 2-0 victory of their own after taking Fnatic yesterday. They are starting out as the blue team, and they will be up against Gambit as the red team.
So, I wonder if SK want to lane swap this one and try and force Warwick into a scenario where he can't get the farm he needs. Because Trundle, again, he's very good in 1v2, he's very good at farming. He also has the pillar. If you dive him, that's going to block, you know, your movement, and it's going to be very hard to actually get out unless you're going to flash. And they also want to get some free farm on the Vayne, of course.
So standard builds from pretty much everyone involved on both teams. Nothing surprising coming out. All Doran's shields, blades, and of course the rings. And at the moment, it is a standoff in the lanes. We do see actual movement from Svenskeren. He's heading in towards Diamond, wants to get that ward in towards the bush, wants to get vision of Diamond, but Diamond, he wants to hold him off.
Now we need to see how active Diamond want to be before he hits level 6. He really needs his ultimate to have some CC to lock someone down. He has his slow if he gets close with his Q, but it's hard for him to more or less just walk up. He does have like the small speed boost, but it's still hard for him to get in range, apply the slow before someone is getting down to the turret. So wouldn't surprise me to see him just farm it up to level 6, or at least try to.
We also need to keep our focus on who gives up first blood. It has been either Edward or Alex Sich for Gambit very early on, many times. 8 out of 11 games as shown in the start of the matchup. And SK Gaming are going to be trying to capitalize on that one and maybe pushing for some early aggression. Currently, it is going to be a blue buff start for Svenskeren and a red buff start for Diamond.
And standard lanes, look how Vayne and Annie are already in the lane. They're waiting for the minions to come in. They might try and sneak up and get some early poke, but it seems they just kind of play it safe and try and farm it away. We have to keep an eye on Vayne there. How will she manage to farm in this game versus the Lucian first poke?
Well, we'll see who hits that level 1 first. Who's going to go aggressive? We see Eddie coming out once again, immediately going straight towards N-rated. Candy Panda and Genja trade blows as well. Candy Panda's going to be a little bit weaker off here, and you can see Edward already trying to capitalize and try and poke him down.
And it's hard for Vayne always to see us in the start due to her low range, so it makes it easy for Gambit to always punish her. Once you get, you know, later up and maybe get some life steals, she can sustain herself. But before that point, she has to be very careful with going in for the CS.
It looks like Gambit going to be the first to hit level 2. You can see they're already trying to zone them out here. Edward just waiting for that flay to be leveled up then, keeping the pressure down. Candy Panda making sure he doesn't get caught out with one of those hooks.
And now Candy Panda, he's keeping the stun very wisely. He's just waiting for Gambit to go in, and then he can stop the engage by just going straight up and stun onto Genja and avoid the damage onto Candy Panda.
There's the level 2, the hook comes straight in on towards N-rated, the flay follows, but a good stun straight away. N-rated was ready and waiting with that flame to keep them stunned up.
And look how fast Skarner is already in the jungle. He's already got 9 CS to the 6 of Svenskeren. He's picked up double buff now, and he's just farming away so fast. Panfan, he can't keep up in clearing speed compared to Skarner.
We'll see whether he keeps up with aggression. Jez is up against Alex Ich in this mid lane. Ziggs versus Kayle. It's a lane we've seen a little bit of so far in the European LCS. Of course, Kayle on 4.1 is still incredibly strong with that Q. You believe still incredibly strong in 4.2. We'll find that out next week, but right now, He has that very strong Q skill, 1-0 ability power.
And here's the thing for Jessis, it's very easy for him to stop a gank from Diamond because he can throw down his satchel and just knock Diamond back, unless he actually flashes through it. So Jessis, he can be fairly safe and just shoving up the lane, bringing constantly. Oh, hook again!
The hook caught straight up to Candy Panda, had to use the barrier bait straight out of there, and Rated does use some flames, trying to turn it back around. Svenskeren coming in, he's going to jump on towards Scrimger, does manage to throw a couple of spears, there's the jump, the barrier being used, has he got enough? The barrier's about to wear out, first blood comes in, Svenskeren gets him, now they're chasing on towards Edward, Edward's going to try and escape through the jungle.
And once again, Gambit gives up first blood, and also Svenskeren is the one who's setting everything up and getting it from SK Gaming. He's always so aggressive early, and he likes to come down to the spot lane when they have the Vayne to make sure Candy Panda gets the farm he needs early.
Well, Diamond making use of the fact that Svenskeren's out in his lane. He did get that kill though, so this is going to be a little sacrifice he's going to be willing to take losing out those wolves to Diamond.
But again, look how fast he's actually clearing these camps. He can just keep doing this all around, get the level 6 before Svenskeren, and then set something up. Once Svenskeren actually, Svenskeren got the XP bonus from getting the first blood though, so he's actually going to be fairly happy with that.
Yeah, we do see the large wipe being taken away as well. Freddy, long way up the lane here. He may actually get Diamond come up. There is a ward, so we will spot this one out. Freddy should start backing off. He's already noticed it. There he goes, making a move for it. But I think he's actually happy with this one. He knows that for Diamond is not at level 6. There's no CC really there. And Diamond's just going to walk away. And
again, the thing, the top lane one, once both of these champions are level 6, they can really set up some insane ganks with double ultimate. But before that, this Small is just farm away. And again, Diamond just returns wisely enough to his lane. He just wants to hit this level 6 point.
Darian keeping that pressure and actually winning out the CS currently against Freddy in that top lane. Bottom lane mode, Genja going to get caught out once again here. And a great condemn onto the wall, and that takes him so low on health already.
Yeah, Genja mispositioning himself against the Vayne. You never want to hog this wall because it's so easy for him to condemn you into it and get the extra damage.
You know, we talked about those stats. It's now 9 of 12 games, the first blood given up by Gambit. We'll see whether this goes against them, because if you think back to that Fnatic game as well, they lost 2 deaths at level 1 as they went for that blue buff invade. They came back from that. Of course, that was one of the few games where it seems to have worked out for them. So, Gambit with the early pressure on them. They have got Double Doran's Blade being picked up by both AD carries. Candy Panda went back, made sure he spent that gold.
Yeah, so they're keeping even item-wise, and also Lucian is still stronger than Vayne, poking-wise. But once we hit the level 6 point for Vayne, she's going to be so hard to deal with. And notice Darren now, first item for him, he's just going straight for attack speed, and he's moving around towards this mid lane.
So this could be a wit's end start potentially coming out there from him, and I think that's maybe where he's going to go. We'll see how that develops. Currently though, bottom lane again, pressure back on towards Candy Panda, another stun coming out and another tumble from Candy Panda, keeping the aggression on him. This is not going well for Gambit in this bottom lane. The fact that Candy Panda on Vayne is keeping up with Genja on Lucian is danger signs.
But it's also due to N-rated always sitting ready with the stun, so whenever Gambit moves in close, he stuns them and they get a lot of poke on them. And we see now, Dragon for Gambit, it's not spotted at all. The ward here didn't see them coming running down. And yeah, Darian, he's only level 5, but he can still take the Dragon.
Yeah, Freddy actually making use and realizing that he is out of lane. Didn't push the tower, instead he's just trying to keep it frozen, which actually is a bit of a mistake. He should have shoved the tower onto there so he could lose those minions. Instead, Darian's going to teleport back up to that top lane and take all of that farm.
It's a very nice move by Gambit, very aggressive, and they knew there wasn't any vision control, or at least they thought they knew. So they simply walked down there, took the Dragon, and not contested at all, and due to the teleport, Darian didn't miss any CS up top.
One of the things Gambit do very well is Dragon control. Svenskeren, he's going for an invade, but Diamond's about to come around. Freddy's going to help him out. Not too sure whether Darian's going to be much use to help out in this one. Spears on towards Diamond, that's going to knock that shield off straight away. Jez is also making a move around here. Alex Hitch, he'd already backed away. Free red buff for SK Gaming.
It's a great call because, yeah, Alex recalls, so they know he's not there to challenge it, and the rest of SK simply goes in, picks up the red buff. Now, oh, Candy Panda stunning Genja once again.
Again condemned on towards that wall. Candy Panda taking low, the stun comes out. Eddie's going to throw out the hook, has to get flashed out of by Candy Panda. Hasn't really got the damage to capitalize on this one. Although Edward taking low, he's going to go and the ignite's going to be enough. And N-rated takes down Edward.
And SK Gaming's bot lane completely outplayed Gambit's bot lane there. They dodged the hook with the flash, and also they make sure they're not in range of the play, and just keep dealing damage, and then they pick up the kill in the end.
You know, N-rated at the start of the season, he even said himself, I'm not in form right now. I am not playing well, but by God, has he really buckled down and practiced hard, because he has been fantastic the last few weeks.
He's been playing so well, pretty much every single game, just the engages he's doing, and also he's laning with Candy Panda. The synergy they have already is so amazing to watch, and that's why they can pick this Vayne pretty much every game now and do well.
Yeah, and it's something they talked about in the video, you know, how the how it would work. The fact that Nif has now gone off to Alliance, it's a lane matchup that Candy Panda's been with Nif since Season 1. You know, this is the first change he's had to make for a very long time, and it seems that he's adjusted very well. Svenskeren and Jesus, they're on a blue buff invade.
They are spotted out though. Can do the... Look at Edward, he's trying to come in from behind. Can he land a hook?
Svenskeren might pounce on him, he is. Diamond is hit level 6 though, and he's going to pull Svenskeren in, but that means Edward's in trouble. Intervention being used, Svenskeren will go down. Alexic gets the kill, but they're going to turn this one back on its head, and it's a double kill for SK Gaming. They're going to continue chasing. They can just go for the blue buff and take it for themselves.
And notice how the bot lane from SK move up there. Edward was there first, but Genji, he was just left down here bottom. He didn't even join in, so this was an easy 2 kills for SK. Yes, they got the kill on Pantheon for Gambit side, but now they lose blue buff and 2 kills.
Well, the culling being used out, but Tibbers is tanking out that blue buff, and Candy Panda will take it for themselves. And now this is massive problems for Gambit. The fact that Candy Panda, he's got 4 assists. Granted, it would be much nicer if that 202 stat was on Candy Panda instead of unrated, but that bottom lane is doing work.
It's doing so much work, and again, just the fact that they moved so fast up there, because the rest of SK, they're all on the same page, they're all agreed, we can go for this blue buff, we are ready to move. They already shoved the lane up, and then they instantly move up when the fight started.
Well, Gambit was shocked by the Super Hot crew in the final game last week, and it seems that SK Gaming may well have pulled a fast one on them here. They really have been stepping up. You compare SK Gaming in week 1, even in promotion series in week 2, to the SK Gaming of the last 2 weeks. They really have pulled together as a team so well. This was a team that was literally thrown together last minute, pulling players from left, right and center. Freddy, he was in Against All Authority in the spring split. Svenskeren, he was in Copenhagen Wolves EU in the spring split. Jesus pulled out of the solo queue. Candy Panda, well, he's been around for forever and a day in SK Gaming, and then rated, pulled back to be a pro player. Maybe there is hope for you yet, Deficio.
I'm gonna try at least to make my comeback soon. St. Vicious made his comeback in NA. I can do the same.
The rise is back, but right now Gambit really are pressured. And we talked about it, top of the show. They don't come back from pressure situations that well.
And again, they're also against the Vayne. You really don't want to fall behind to Vayne early game, because she's so hard to deal with in teamfights. Against the Trundle, who's also just going to be such a beast in teamfight wise. And you have the wave clear and the siege potential on the 6. And then you have the global presence from Svenskeren, who can jump around and punish Gambit if they try something risky. So it's very hard for them now, and they really need to make sure they're not giving up more free kills in this early game.
And of course, the single focus target that Gambit have, that it seems to be backfiring, because SK Gaming, they don't care about one focus. They're going for like 2, 3, 4 in a fight.
One thing we need to have an eye on is the Wit Send for Darien once he actually completes it. If he can 1v1 versus this Trundle up here, force him maybe out, and then do the Darien style of just forcing people to come up against him all the time.
Darien is going to be backing off. We'll see where he goes. Will it be that Wit Send instead? Freddy is going to put that pillar of ice on him, prevent him backing away, and said we'll continue that farm. Diamond also heading down towards the bottom, but Svenskeren's down there as well. So both junglers may be looking at creating yet more plays in this bottom lane.
There is flash ready on Diamond. There's also the lantern from Edward, so it's going to be very easy for him to get in there. The ward is actually for Gambit, so he's not spotted out by SK, but Svenskeren is moving away. He does have Grand Skyfall though to join in.
Candy Panda tumbling in. That's going to be the lantern thrown out from Edward, keeping Genja safe. Svenskeren has gone on. Oh, look at this. This could be a 4-man dive in the bottom. There's going to be the Grand Skyfall. It's going to land on towards Genja. Diamond comes in, tries to hook on towards him, but Tibbers quickly turns that back on its head. Diamond's going to run away from this one. Jesus is coming in from the side right now. The Cullings comes out, but look at this. He's just going to throw out the mines, throw out the bombs, throw out the rubber ducky, and Genja is in all sorts of trouble. Svenskeren's going to tank out that turret, flashes away. Fantastic play from SK, but look at Darien. He's coming in. Alex is just going to join the fight as well. Darien picks up one. Alex chooses not to fight it. Freddy teleports top. Great play once again from SK Gaming, a 3-for-1.
Yeah, SK Gaming is just setting up the perfect fights all the time. And so far, the Skarner haven't had an impact in these 3v3 or 2v2 scenarios. He was there, he did line his ultimate onto Svenskeren, but they didn't have any damage really to follow up in the start, and ended up dying for it. Yes, okay, Darien could come down, pick up an easy kill for him, but in the fight itself, there was no damage from Gambit's side.
Candy Panda's going to be kicking himself right now. He could be 7-0, but no, he's 1-0-6. It could be incredible. It would be game over if he was 7-0, I feel, right now. As it is, he's got the Blade of the Rune King completed. He's got the farm ahead of Genja in the lane phase. Only 13 minutes in this game.
Yeah, more or less. He is really, really strong. Let's just keep it at that. We have to also remember, though, as we talked about in Champ Select, the combo from Gambit, if they manage to get him locked down and kill him in the team fights, they can completely remove him. So it might even benefit them if he feels too confident going into this one. We saw him again yesterday versus Fnatic in the fight they had in the mid lane, where he got overconfident, got in too far, and he got killed. So GMB can try and punish him for this, but this time now, it's Dragon.
Dragon fight is what they're going to go for. Diamond currently does not have his ultimate available, and he's going to be locked out of this one. Those mines doing work. He's already taken a couple of bombs, takes another. He's down to half hit points. He can't get close to this fight. It's going to be an easy Dragon picked up for SK.
Very nice zoning control by GS. Is completely blocking him out. There was no flash on Diamond either, so he didn't really want to go into this one because it's very hard for him to walk up and grab a target.
He didn't take any objectives. Alex wasn't able to push that mid lane. SK Gaming seemingly in control right now up against Gambit. 4,000 gold differential between these two teams, 7-2 in kills. Big advantages early on. Are they going to keep the pressure on that turret? Do they even want to take that turret down early?
They don't have to take it down because it's just Candy Panda farming. If they do kill the turret, they have to rotate somewhere else on the map. And that's not what you want to do with Vayne. Or you can actually look at it the other way around. If they do take it down, there's a long lane for him to split push and then maybe force Gambit again to come in a bad situation where he can either 1v1 someone or force multiple people down there, and then Jessis can take the mid turret. So actually it goes kind of back and forth if they want to take it.
Well, we do see Jez is taking that blue buff. Darian right now taking some damage from Freddy. That's going to be the infinite duress. Remember, Diamond can hook him in, pulls him in towards that tower. Freddy trying to tank it out. The ultimate's not going to be enough. It will be a kill for Diamond.
And there we see the combo when both of them have the ultimate ready. You more or less cannot escape it, because also you're going to be changed load. But look at Svensson. He has Grand Skyfall ready. He's moving towards the spot lane.
It's the blue buff. They pinged it out, and you can see they took it in the first time around. Of course, it was Candy Panda that locked that one up. Alex Itch knows this. The jungler in the top lane, they know this is free. You see the Mega Inferno Bomb thrown to the top. That's going to prevent the push. Diamond and Darian not able to keep shoving onto that tower. Now we're going to see them coming in towards there, but Gambit will take this one down. It will go across to Alex Itch.
And Candy Panda is just pushing the turret meanwhile, waiting for it to clear out the minions actually, and then keeping it very low. So if he wants to take it down at any point, he can more or less just walk in there, give it a few hits, and then get the goal for the rest of SK. And Genji, he's actually just recalling.
Yeah, he doesn't want a part of that, and I don't blame him. Alex Itch himself has been pushed pretty heavily in this mid lane. You can see that turret almost going down as well. This would be all three outer turrets being pressured by SK Gaming.
So now we have the situation where Candy Panda can just keep split pushing the bot lane because he has his own turret to fall back on if he should be ganked, and at the same time, Gambit didn't have a single person who can actually 1v1 him.
Look at Candy Panda and Enrated. They're laying in wait. We do see Edward. He's recalling. This would leave Genja open, exposed to a flash Tibbers. It is available for Candy Panda, and they want to stay and wait. They've taken the gold from the win, but they are going to back off.
That's smart because look at the vision they actually have. They only have one ward to spot something out, so they didn't know if Skana was nearby or if maybe Alex was, about to move over. So very smart of them not to go for this one because they don't have to risk anything.
Well, it seems that Diamond and Darian, they want to focus on Freddy. You can see once again that ultimate available from both of these. They want to keep that top lane at shut down. He went for a Tiamat, and he went for some magic resist along with that Vampiric Scepter. They are going to close on him once again.
And here's the smart thing about the Wits End. It steals magic resistance. So it means that Alex will also do more damage to this target they decide to lock. So Gambit more or less just have a full-on pick one target, and this target has to die. We remove the magic resist with the Wits End, and we have our Kayle just going crazy on it. And also Kayle removes magic resist.
Well, the mid lane turret, that's going to go down. That's going to get caught out. There's nothing that Gambit can do to prevent that one. So they're losing out in the early game here. Diamond, once again, looking at maybe focusing on towards Freddy. We can see Darian goes in. Infinite Duress locks him up. Quick Impale, but it's going to be Sven Skoren going to join this party. Freddy 1-2-2. Mega Inferno Bomb's going to land on both of them. Then suddenly Gambit going to get turned around here. And Diamond's going to try and get away. He's going to get focused on Spear from Sven Skoren. Will close this one out. They're closing back in towards Darian. The mines get down. Enrated. Oh, Flash Tibbers not going to land. And the Swag Lord runs away.
But every single time there is a fight where Skana is involved and members from SK, they don't have the damage on Gambit's side. They keep losing this one. Yes, we had the 6 ultimate coming in, but they didn't even need it to win the 2v2 fight. Nice Grand Skyfall from Svensson, just turning everything around.
So, kill for SK Gaming. Back and forth, the action continues. And, well, down the bottom lane, Candy Panda. I was wondering whether Edward was thinking of trying something there. Down the bottom, Candy Panda, he's going one-on-one with Genja, and Genja just doesn't want to get close to him anymore.
No, look how far he's staying back because he knows he can't even get close. The ward here is very nice though. It spots Candy Panda from trying to, hide away and then go on Genja when he moves forward. But all in all, it's free farm for Vayne, and she can just keep doing this as long as SK has pressure elsewhere on the map.
Yeah, just keeping those CS creep scores ticking up there. 106. He had that Blade of the Ruin King. He's going towards the Trinity Force, I believe, right now. Had the phase picked up for that extra little bit of health and will be backing away. He hasn't teleported from home yet. Diamond had come down to give a little bit of reassurance to Genja, but it seems they have vision of him. Darien going to war down that Baron. Look at that. That's how dangerous as they feel SK are right now.
But the move before here from Candy Panda really shows how safe he's playing it. He spotted Skarner on the ward, and instantly he just started walking backwards. He didn't want to take any chances of giving a kill over to Gambit, and now Diamond actually trying to come around.
I want a theoretical question for you right now, because this is something we've seen from Gambit before. They have two-manned the Dragon before, the Baron, sorry, with, of course, that Warwick in it. Is it something they may well go for? But at the moment, we'll come back to that in a second. They're just going to push on that turret. Alex is going to clear that wave quickly.
It is very hard for them. Obviously, Diamond trying to get him in front and engage, but the Baron thing, it's very hard for them to actually get around to do it unnoticed due to all their outer turrets being gone and SK having, you know, full vision on the map and full pressure. So I don't even think Gambit will be in the situation, at least not in the next few minutes or 10 minutes, to go around and try and take this Baron.
Freddy122 continues to pound away on Darien. But of course, Darien just life-steals it all back right again. Swipe of those claws on towards Freddy. Freddy with a Hydra pushing that lane as quick as possible. He's keeping Darien busy. And now the red buff is going to get stolen away. Candy Panda will happily take that one away from the jungle of Gambit. And that's a 5-man push from SK Gaming towards his top turret.
In the pre-game, we talked about how if Genja was behind, he would just stay and farm in his lane. SK knew this, so they rotate all 5 people. And we see the Grand Skyfall.
Who is he going to man drop in? That's going to be on towards Darien. Oh, and look how much coming out towards him. Everything thrown out, but not chained very well. And that's a quick lantern and an intervention for Gambit, but it's a tower down.
That's the thing. It's fine for SK Gaming because they get the turret and also Genja down in the bot lane. They can just teleport down, stop the push there, pick up the farm. So SK there just constantly pressuring Gambit.
Yep, Freddy teleports down there. He's got that Ravenous Hydra and he's just going to wipe those waves out, no problem at all. Genja not involved in this and just trying to keep that farm flowing. SK Gaming seemingly in control, and with that Dragon back alive, they are moving straight for it.
Now, the ultimate from Kill is not up yet, so if they rush this Dragon, it won't be up for the next fight, at least not for the start. The rest of the ultimate for Gambit, except for the calling though, is ready.
Jesus is going to come back around. He's used those mines actually to keep them away at the top there, but look at Diamond. He's actually trying to get in towards it, but again, SK Gaming zoning them out, taking themselves another free Dragon.
And Gambit, they simply can't fight at the moment, and they know this. That's why they have to back out and just go back to the lanes and keep farming away. They need to try and at least get a pick on SK at some point in the game. They have the Skarner Warwick combo to do it, so it could be where Darien is. They can try and get some more, but they need kills on more than just Darien and Diamond.
They need SK to make a mistake, it seems, and they need to try somehow to single out Candy Panda. And as it's working, it's not happening right now because he is just farming away. We have a pause. 30 minutes into this game, it is going to be SK Gaming, it seems, although I see Alex Sitch with his headset off straight away. So we'll see what exactly this is for, which means we won't give too much away that's happening in the game right now, other than the fact that SK Gaming are in full control. Looks like it's going to be Alex. He's running off.
Yeah, so SK is in full control, and they're playing so careful. And I really like that. They don't want to make any single mistake. They don't want to give up any free kills. Freddy already died once up in the top lane to the gank, but the next time, Svensson was ready when he pushed it all the way up to the turret, and he just joined in as soon as something happened.
No headsets back on there. And Svensson flailing his arms around almost Mima-like, making sure he gets the attention. Yeah, that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to get the attention of the referee, waving wildly to say, what's going on? What's going on here? So at the moment, we're just waiting for Alex to return to his computer. He has had to step out of the stage for a moment. So, what do we make of the situation?
We can touch on item on Trundle. He actually picked up the Hydra, so he really want to focus on the split pushing potential and constantly, you know, push every single lane. So you have Vayne pushing one lane, you have the rest, the 6 staying in the mid lane, and then you have obviously the Trundle with the Hydra just staying in top lane, just pushing down every single lane, and then they simply go for beating whoever they are against 1v1 or 3v3 and just take everything on the map from there.
I want to just give you a couple of stats. I mean, Jesus has played fantastic. He's out farming Alex Sitch in the mid lane. 2-0-3 right now, of course, was involved in a couple of those Dragons zoning out Diamond. Alex Sitch himself, he is 1-0. He's 200 plus CS, so he's actually doing a good job keeping up with Jesus. He's actually the only one, though, because Darien has fell behind. He's now, what, 40 CS behind Freddy, which is a bit of a problem there, starting to brew, as it were, because Freddy, we know we've touched on at the beginning how these players are very similar in play style, but Freddy just doing exactly what he should do for his team not really feeding. It's 0-1-1, that's fine for him. But the danger situation has been his bottom lane. It's been where the focus has been. Both junglers going in towards us. Svenskeren man dropped a couple of times on towards there. 1-0-6 Vayne. I don't need to tell anyone that's played League of Legends to level 30 how dangerous it is to get Vayne fed.
No, that's the thing, and that's the perfect thing for SK Gaming, and that's why Svenskeren always, when they have this Vayne, he walks to the lane very early. He was level 3, I think. He walks down and he picks up the first spot, and therefore helps Candy Panda get a good start and get the farm he needs early on the Vayne. And this also, again, every time you give Candy Panda something, he will take it and he will use it to just get stronger and stronger. Genji has managed to actually catch up in farm, but it's simply due to him staying in the bot lane, farming away when Candy Panda went top lane and took the turret for SK.
And of course, we talked about the fact that, you know, N-Rated really has stepped up. He's at, what, 2-0-4 now, right now. And SK Gaming themselves have even said, Candy Panda said in an interview, you know, we were talking about how Gambit can try and focus on towards Candy Panda, maybe lock him up, everyone piling in with all that CC, but they themselves will completely disrupt that. That Tibbers from N-Rated is almost certainly going to be used purposely, either on Darien or Diamond, the moment they go for that stun.
Yeah, that's the thing they can do, because if they manage to stun both of them, as both Darien and Diamond will be on the same target, and just pile all the damage onto them, you have the 6 burst, and then obviously you have the Vayne, they will be able to actually take them down fairly easy. And Lucian in the background, oh, notice here what Vayne just picked up, the QSS very early to simply stop this from happening. If she gets stunned up by the Warwick, she can pop the QSS and then get out of range of Skarner.
Yeah, you talked about it there, Candy Panda. He is very clever in this game, knows exactly, and builds perfectly relevant against what he's up against. That QSS, he can just cleanse. It's a free cleanse given to you, a free item click, and just clear it off. And along with the extra stuns that the rest of the team are going to give, that spells danger for Gambit once again. Freddy122 pushing in towards that top lane and coming around, actually. Diamond's going to find him. Freddy will continue pushing. There's a lot of pressure on the mid lane here while Candy Panda's got free farm at the bottom.
And notice also how Svenskeren has picked up the Black Cleaver. It will stack up on his Heartseeker strike, his E, very, very fast. So it's going to be very good for the rest of SK, or at least for Candy Panda and Trundle to do even more damage because they shred all this armor.
Well, we talked about the 4-1 split pressure that Fnatic like to put out, but what about the pressure that SK are applying right now? Candy Panda free farming down the bottom, keeping Genja busy in the mid lane, and that's 5 members of Gambit desperately keeping the siege pressure from SK.
And this is just like the game yesterday, with Candy Panda and Vayne, staying in the bot lane and just constantly pushing it up over and over and again. And the rest of SK, they just stay together and just make sure they don't get engaged on. Darren is here in the corner though, he will go in for this one.
Well, I'm trying to think if they will. He's going to go in towards Svenskeren, not really the focus. Intervention being used on Darien there, but literally 0 damage done. Diamond comes in, he takes himself a big bunch of damage. Now, finally, Candy Panda's going to rotate round. Look at that, keeping Genja, doesn't want a part of that, has to be forced away from this one. Candy Panda's going to get free farm on that bottom turret.
The pillar right here from Freddy completely blocked Diamond from going in. It would force Diamond to actually flash ultimate, but he didn't want to go for it due to also the fact there were only 4 members from Gambit, so he didn't feel confident enough. So very nice pillar from Freddy, blocking everything, and cancels it.
Cancels it out there. The bottom turret is also being focused. Candy Panda's going to be focused on. Diamond's going to come around towards him. Candy Panda pops that ultimate, turns the aggression back on his head, and just keeps him away. Man drop this time is coming in. Oh, flash tippers on towards Genja, but quickly N-Rated gets pulled in there by Edward, but Edward just gets dropped. They turn it around. The damage coming out from Svenskeren and Jesus being huge, and it was Alex Itza got himself the kill, but it's another turret coming out for SK Gaming.
And SK Gaming is giving Gambit no chances of just extending the game and farming up. They want to go for this. This was between 2 turrets. They just man dropped in, and then the tippers from N-Rated.
SK Gaming doing work right now on Gambit. They now have a 10,000 gold lead. It's like week 4 all over again. Super Hot Crew versus Gambit. SK Gaming really doing work. Not quite sure what Jesus was planning. I think he wanted to hop over the wall, but it kind of failed on his head.
Oh, looked pretty good anyway. So back to the game though. Gambit, they need to try and just farm on Alex as much as they can. They need Genji to keep farming. He's doing the race right here. He can't really take the wave up top because Freddy's going to go there. It puts all the way down to the turret. But Gambit, they just need to try and extend the game. And then they need SK to overextend. Let's say Candy Panda is pushing the bot lane and the rest of SK is staying in mid, and you have 5 Gambit members. If they can get a hard engage there, pull them in and then take a 5v4 and actually win it, that's the way back for Gambit. They have to just try and ignore the Candy Panda who split pushing.
I'm a little bit worried. SK Gaming heading towards this Baron. I think they're just going to ward it out. Not sure if they're going to go for it just yet, but this is a danger sign still, because Gambit, one little steal away could turn that game. I don't think they need the Baron right now. I think they're in a good position, but just like that, Jesus gets caught out. Infinite Dress being used. Have they got the damage? No. Tibbers comes in, quickly bombs himself away. Mega Inferno bomb thrown out. And look at that, the damage turned around. SK Gaming reacted to this one. They're going to keep chasing on there. Alex is doing what he can to keep him away, but Jesus is safe.
So they tried to do the pick we just talked about, where they ignore Candy Panda in the bot lane and try and go on the 4 members from SK, but they didn't have the damage between Warwick and Skarner. I'm sorry, but the Skarner pick is not providing any damage in these fights.
Currently backfiring. Candy Panda doing work, taking away that blue buff from Alex Ich, and Alex was just about to show himself, but again, too late to the party. SK Gaming around that Baron buff, clearing out all of the wards. Remember, there's a couple of ultimates used. Both Darians and Diamonds down still right now. If SK Gaming will try and start something.
Now, SK Gaming really want to wait for Gambit to move someone bot lane before they want to go for this Baron. If this started without seeing anyone from Gambit showing up here, it's way too risky because it's too easy for Gambit to engage. The flash from Darien is going to be up fairly soon, and then he can really set up a fight if it should be.
See how it develops. Candy Panda's making his way back up. Dragon will be up in 25 seconds time. That's going to almost certainly be picked up by SK Gaming, continuing to keep their gold advantage. Red buff being taken by Candy Panda. He continues to just drive home every little bit of gold advantage he can. I think he may well go for Trinity Force before they go for this Baron.
Well, he might not even be in the Baron because they want him to draw the attention by bot lane. Once he goes back and buys it though, they can actually go 5v5 and fight if they want to because Vayne is so strong. Oh, Svensken, he might catch up Diamond.
Diamond thought about going in towards it. Svensken instead doesn't go in there. It was only really N-rated and Jezza's with him. They probably would have had enough to take him down actually, now I come to think of it. The damage involved in them. Candy Panda's running up the mid lane, clearing out the wave. Now Freddy, it's his turn to split push. And this is the guy that should be split pushing. He's got that teleport.
He has to teleport again. He's forcing Genji to stay here and just farm up, which means SK can now start a fight somewhere else and then have him teleporting in.
And you know what? We've seen many Trundles already taking down the AD carrier, so Genji has to be very careful not to get too close because with that Ravenous Hydra, he's going to have the damage to do some dangerous work on towards Genji. Instead, he's going to keep him away. It's not the barrel, it's a hot water balloon going out on towards Diamond. But look at that, 1 Q from Jezza's doing that to Diamond.
Diamond has 66 magic resistance at the moment versus a Void Staff, Death Cap, a Fiend's Jessis. He's doing so much damage every time he hits him. And the teleport coming in.
Teleport, will it get cancelled out? Darian's not there. No, instead, Diamond's going to get focused on. Mega Inferno Bomb comes out. The invulnerability coming out in the intervention. But Diamond will get taken down. SK peeled off the Baron really nicely there. But they just return straight to it, keeping it low. Candy Panda's actually pretty low in there. The culling coming out from Genja again. 1 water balloon coming out from Jezza's, taking out half the hit points. And SK Gaming picked themselves up the first Baron of the game.
I'm not sure how that teleport went through, as Darien was actually there with his ultimate ready. He could have stopped it, but he didn't. Instead, he just let him teleport away, and yeah, maybe he's gonna push the turret and thought it was worth it.
It's not, that's for sure. Instead, the Dragon is up, and Freddy's gonna come around to there. Candy Panda with that Baron still coming down there. Darien is gonna back away from this one, and that will be another gold objective for SK Gaming. That's gonna keep that gold ticking. It's now 14,000 gold between these two teams. That is a gigantic advantage 28 minutes into this game.
And Candy Panda should have enough for his 24s now. He can go back and buy it, or he can just, keep pushing, apply the pressure. He seems to be actually returning up with the team. Now they feel confident enough they can take the team fight.
Such a transition when you cast your mind back to that promotion series. 0-2 down to the Super Hot Crew. SK Gaming had to fight their way, pulling out that Vayne for Candy Panda to draw themselves back into this European LCS, and right now it seems they're going to take it to Gambit. It's a split decision from Gambit. They are off at the sides.
Yeah, notice how Diamond, he wants to try and flank around and get a pick on someone.
That's exactly what I was about to mention. You can see Svensk going in there, and Diamond, well, he's not able to get close enough. Svensk was taken pretty low, though. I think that was a single little bit of burst damage from Alex Ich. They do clear the wave very quickly.
Yeah, as long as they can keep this wave cleared and actually wait, so far the minions in the other lanes are not pushed up yet. It will be very soon, so SK can just stay in here in the mid lane and force Gambit to stay there as well and wave it all the time.
Diamond without that flash is not able to get too involved in this one. The culling being used to clear those minions. Every little bit of ability power being used to keep those minions at bay there. But again, the turret is slowly dropping. This is a Baron up SK Gaming. They can just step away with that Baron and regenerate all that health.
And there's no flash on Diamond at the moment, so he can't do the engage. They need Darien to do it.
Yeah, I know. I just said that.
Did you?
At the moment.
Oh, I didn't hear. I'm very sorry. I was too focused on that.
It's okay, man. The pressure is on. That's where it is. You're feeling it as well as Gambit, it seems. Skyfall being used here. Tower goes down. They're going to go towards Diamond, but they're not really going to focus on any target. Instead, the inhibitor will get taken down, and SK Gaming, they are just taking what they want right now from the Gambit.
And it was actually a smart use, simply zoning the rest of Gambit away. And now I can just say there is a flash ready on Diamond.
Yes, there is indeed. The minions pushing around that bottom lane, and Candy Panda will follow through with the rest of SK Gaming, keeping that pressure on. They have the siege minion in there, and they continue to siege. The Baron buff, it's still got around about 80 seconds left on it, but will Gambit maybe, just maybe, engage on Candy Panda?
They have to try something. They can't just let another inhib go down, because SK is just going to keep extending the lead. They need to try a team fight.
There's a big wave of minions pushing in the top lane as well. They will be driving themselves in towards that inhibitor turret. Maybe someone's going to have to deal with them at the moment. They're going to leave it to the tower. We see just in the mid lane, actually, Diamond is off there, not involved in this. He's going to try and sneak around the side once again, but Freddy just charging at it, making sure he stays well away from the rest of the team. Darien goes in for the duress going on towards him. Quickly locking in, Svenskera's going to go down, but what damage will that do really to SK Gaming? Not a great deal. Edward's going to get focused on here. Darien taken really low. He gets stunned up, and Rated getting hooked in by Edward. But again, no kills for SK Gaming. Look how low Darien got away.
Yeah, SK actually almost managed to turn this around, but a nice engage by Gambit. You saw Darren, he didn't want to jump on Candy Panda due to the QSS, so he picked the next target, that was Svenskan, and they managed to lock him in, pull him back into their own team, and take the kill.
Jesus this time does manage to use the pack to blow himself over the wall and get away in style. SK Gaming all backing off here. They still have themselves a 12,000 gold lead, and that mid-inhib did go down.
And Alex is 3-0, he just picked up his death cap now. He's going to be bringing a lot of damage to the table. If they can keep having fights like this, where they just get 1 or 2 kills and avoid dying and giving up more turrets and inhibitors, they can actually slowly try and come back in the game.
Ginja pushing out, taking the red buff. Alex is going to churn that wave in the top lane, making sure that doesn't get taken down either. Ginja just using a bit of style there to tank out the red buff. I'm not sure. I'm hoping he felt a little bit safe to make use of that ability rather than keeping it safe just in case someone came around the corner. Nevertheless, SK Gaming, Baron buff worn off. Let's see what they do now they come back in. And Rated, you can see, gone for that Banshee's Veil, got himself a QS as well as Jez's. Everybody's stacking out.
So this time around, SK can actually just go up and try and do the same. We're just a little bit more careful once the engage is about to start. Diamond had to use his flash, and also Darren had to use his flash. So this time around, there's a lot less engage potential for Gambit, and SK should notice and just return back up here and push the turret again.
Gambit trying to play it by the numbers. They shoved all of the waves out, doing what they could. You can see Darien standing guard in that mid lane, making sure the super minions don't get too close towards those Nexus turrets, while the rest of SK are focusing Gambit. They're keeping them busy in this bottom lane.
Now notice how Jess has also picked up a QSS, so he's going to be very hard to deal with for Gambit as well. They more or less have to go on Svenskar.
Just taking a bit of the cooling damage there. Candy Panda's so close to being hooked in there by Eddie. Had to quickly tumble away from that hook.
Okay, Siege is on again. The Svenskern, he's going to be the target for Gambit. He's the only one they can actually go for, unless they want to go for the Trundle. Meanwhile though, SK just have to focus on hitting this turret a few times, backing out, then in again and again, and just always dodge the hook.
You see him just tumbling away. Eddie keeps throwing out the hook, focusing on towards it. Darien going to go in towards Svenskern once again, but Darien's taking too much damage this time around. Has to take the Lantern, but gets taken down by N-Rated with the Flame. That will be the second inhibitor turret going down. The inhibitor will follow.
And Gambit was completely out of position right here. 3 members had moved backwards, and then he went in for this one.
Alexic comes in, but it's only Freddy that he can get towards, and Freddy happily will take that damage. Man drop going to come in. Diamond's been pinned down the corner there. He's going to get taken down. Alex comes back in, but it's a Nexus turret falling for him, and he's not going to be able to keep that one at bay. Diamond goes down in that top area. You can see the balloons keep on rolling.
Okay, so SK, they can stay, they're going in again.
Oh, Alex is gone out, has to use the intervention. It's not going to last long enough. He does manage to get himself a kill. Will he get away? No! Candy Panda flashes for it, gets the kill. Edward taking low. Final Nexus turret drops, and SK Gaming, they can end the game right here. They've taken down Fnatic, and now they're going to take down Gambit. What a week it's been for SK Gaming!
And what a great team. They're doing everything right in this game. They win their early game, they get Candy Panda rolling early with Svenskern, and then they make no mistakes. They had one fight they lost, but they gave up 1 kill, and that was it.
Fantastic performance from SK Gaming. They really have turned themselves in one of the teams to beat, and they continue their progress up the top of the table. That also means, of course, Roccat are all on their own at the top of the table, but all credit to this team on your screens. SK Gaming have played magnificently this weekend.
And we might see them actually joining the top ranks very soon. If they keep playing like this, they are beating everyone so far. And again, they don't seem to have any really weak point. As long as Svensson is doing all his early games, very aggressive style, gets Candy Panda rolling, Freddy will always do well by himself, and Jessis will also do well by himself. The entire SK machine is just going.
So the fantastic turnaround from SK Gaming really is a bit of a dream story for them. I have to think of the start, I personally had them in relegation after week 1. I was like, this team is just at odds with itself. They don't seem to know what to do, but by God have they turned it around.
Every single member have stepped up. Rated is one of them. We talked about him, how when he got started playing in LCS again, he didn't perform. He said himself he wasn't happy. Now he's been stepping it up, giving all the help to Candy Panda he needs. And then the rest of the members from SK are just playing so well. And if they keep doing this, I don't see actually how or who is going to beat them. Who's going to destroy them, at least, like they did in the first few weeks, because if they can keep going like this, they will be among the top teams.
Well, there's one thing I can assure you. Whoever plays them next week will be banning Vayne.
I think that would be a very good idea, or at least have something that can really shut down Vayne early, and definitely be ready for the early game from Svensson if Candy Panda is playing the Vayne.
So fantastic stuff. So, what do we make of it now for Gambit? They just seem a little bit hit and miss. And again, this time they've lost to SK Gaming. Last week it was Super Hot Crew. They seem to be going 1 for 1. They're keeping it in there. And this is the Spring Split. Spring Split's usually when Gambit are really on fire.
Gambit simply just need to sort the early game issues they have. They're playing, a little bit too aggressive in certain lanes.
They gave up First Blood again.
Gave up First Blood once again. And they need to stop doing this. They need to fix it before the playoffs if they actually want to have a chance of winning the split.
Yeah, and if you cast your mind back to the 2013 season, it was Fnatic and Gambit head-to-head the whole way through. And from Gambit, they've just lost out in the final. But both of these teams are really hitting this tough role. Fnatic, 0-4. It's 0-5 now, in fact, I should say. 0-5 now. They haven't won for 3 weeks.
And both teams are kind of trying out new stuff as well. And it's sometimes a bit up and down. But yeah, the general issue for Fnatic is not the things they're playing. It's just the whole play style and the individual play has kind of dropped down, and now they need to find the confidence again.
Do you feel, actually, I just want to think of Fnatic, they were actually surprised when they started off so well. They were surprised themselves because they even we were like, well, we're probably going to go 2-2 in week 1. Do you think that start has actually kicked them in the butt now because they were like, the confidence maybe went a little too high when they actually weren't playing as well as they thought?
I think people just kind of found a way to play against them. They found the right champions to use, the very early game aggression to kind of shut down Fnatic in the lanes. And from there on, they just never really recovered from it. They never really found a new play style. And that's kind of what's, the issue now.
So, for now, though, we are going to see what the players have to say themselves. Let's go over to Shox and Quickshot, who are standing by with N-Rated.
Absolutely, guys. Joined here by N-Rated. What a weekend for you guys. Fnatic yesterday, Gambit today. How did you pick them apart if we look at picks and bans?
Well, looking at this week, it looked pretty much unbearable. Like, the matchups were horrible for us. We had a pretty bad record before. We lost both matches against each one of them. And it just felt like it was very hard winning any of these matches. So we went first of all in the match and said, okay, we have nothing to lose, but everything to win. And I think that attitude reflected a bit how we played. Aggressive, went in, did everything we could, and I think we handled it pretty well.
Oh, I completely agree. It feels like the communication is very good. Yesterday, for example, using Candy Panda to pull Fnatic away so you can grab Baron. This game, you grab control from Gambit and never let go. What was your take on the Warwick and the Skarner being locked in? Because we were talking about it a lot.
Well, this Warwick pick was pretty obvious. It might have happened, so we prepared something against it. I think that too much suppression in the team might be over the top because QSS just simply counters it. So as soon as you have QSS, that engage threat is lower and Warwick can be cancelled as well. Therefore, we were not really afraid of any of those picks. We just needed to play it a bit more calm and choose the team fights wisely. And they tried to collapse on us several times, but we just had the vision up and just denied it completely. And we took the fights and we engaged. So that was the way you had to handle it.
Yeah, sure thing. Tell me a little bit about lane experience. And we know Candy Panda loves to play that Vayne. How is it for you as a support to play with a Vayne that's pretty short range? You have to protect a little more as opposed to Caitlyn, for instance.
Well, early on it's really hard. So everyone bullies Vayne. That's basically how it works. But at a certain point, the true bullets of true bolts, of VN basically deal a lot of damage. And as soon as you rank that up, the power spike gets immense. So
I've got a personal question because of the first couple of weeks of the LCS, you were quite outspoken about your own performance. And if we're going to be very honest, you didn't have the same impact that you've been having last week and this week. What have you done personally to actually level up your game and now be a real threat and a fear in that lane?
Well, most of all, I practice a lot and I feel more comfortable playing. I feel comfortable playing with my team and I'm not afraid of completely messing up or anything. I know if I do everything I can, I will do everything I can. Therefore, I just play to my limit and see how far it goes.
Candy Panda mentioned the sports psychologist you guys were working with. That he was helping a lot out with what Pandy Canada was dealing with. How does he help you?
Well, for me personally, he didn't have that much impact, but as soon as it comes to the team, I feel like our communication in general got a lot better, and like we get along very well anyways, and he just shapes the little things that needs to be like shaped. So
I got a question about can you explain a little bit about how he does it? Because we've never heard of a sports psychologist helping a team. I mean, do you just sit down and hold hands and sing Kumbaya?
Well, we had some unsettled thing. Let's say schedules during a week, the way we approach a day, the way we handle match days in general. Like every single part needs to be somehow thought through, and we kind of need to sort that on our own. He's just helping us. We are doing the work.
Tell me a little bit about the league in general, and of course I want to pick your brain about Fnatic a little bit. Not that there's any bad blood or anything, but you have a great insight in that team. What do you think is going on?
Well, I'm not really sure. I think they're a bit uncoordinated and they're relying on everything they did before. For example, that brush camping already got obvious in some way. They just need to find their playstyle and kind of stick to it. Right now they're a bit struggling of finding their champs to play, and I guess they need a couple of weeks to get that fixed, but I don't see a reason why they wouldn't.
Talking about the fact that Fnatic's now dropping Roccat sitting at the top of the league. I believe with this win, you guys are now 6 wins, 6 losses, firmly in the middle as well. It seems like every team's beating everybody. What's your take on that? Why is that always happening in Europe?
Well, as long as we are the team that beats everyone, I'm fine with it.
Have you reset your goals a little bit? Because teams are always saying, you know, this season we just don't want to relegate and that's it. But do you dare, if you play like this, to make some better judgments?
I don't dare
to
do anything. I hope. That's the only thing I can. I cannot believe anything. I just hope.
D-Man style. Cannot believe it. Awesome. Well, great weekend for you guys. Great play from you. Congratulations. And thank you very much for your time. And now let's see how the tables have turned after today's 4 matches.
Thank you very much, Shocks and Quick Shot, and of course N-Rated for a little tip of the hat there. You cannot believe it! At the end of week 5, here is where the teams are standing right now. At the top of the pile, well, it's Roccat now 9 wins and 3 losses. Fantastic start for them in the spring split. Gambit, we just saw them going down to SK Gaming. They're now 8 and 4, and Fnatic have had a torrid time. 5 losses on the bounce now at 7 and 5.
And then we have SK Gaming and Super Hot Crew, who both have 6 wins and 6 losses. And down at the bottom, we have Alliance, Copenhagen Wolves, and Millennium, who are all 3 on 4 wins and 8 losses.
So looking back at this week's matches, we've put together our own team of players who have managed to go above and beyond their play this week. Of course, starting out, we have to talk about the top laner, Kevin. What an impressive week it's been for him.
He had a KDA of 25. He didn't die a single time in his Shen game versus Gambit yesterday. And his Tron game today, he was just in every single team fight, impossible to kill and just constantly a pain for Fnatic.
And of course, the SK Gaming jungler, he managed to get the Pantheon again against Gambit. Sven Skeren has played brilliantly. 89% kill participation, crazy.
That is insane. He's part of everything SK is doing. He's part of the early game, he's part of the mid and the late game. His Pantheon play we just saw here, every single ultimate resulted in either a kill or getting a turret or something. Just beautiful play overall.
And Moops, Super Hot Crew really have stepped up. And the man in the middle seems to be working out for him. 2 games as Gragas with great team fight with those barrels.
And Moops is a player Super Hot Crew need to have, you know, playing well, because he's such a key player for them. He's always the guy who's there with the Gragas, with the 6, with the wave clear in general. And as long as he's doing well in the early game, gets the farm he needs, he's always doing really well in the team fights.
And Super Hot Crew continue because alongside him, well, he's been here before, hasn't he? It's Mr. Rales. What a player he is. 14 kills, 2 deaths, 15 assists. Amazing, amazing stuff.
Yeah, and he played Jinx today for the first time versus Alliance. He didn't die a single time. He picked up 7 kills and 10 assists. Overall, just an amazing performance from him. But he's doing well every single week. We just have to highlight as well the fact he just took the inhibitor versus Copenhagen Wolves all alone with the split push.
And of course, well, the support, Jairi, he really has played well, and he's one of the shining lights for Millennium. And you can see that the fact that there is 2 Millennium players in there shows how well they've done this week.
Yeah, but getting support this week as well, where so many people have been performing, that really means something. His fresh plays in both games were just spot on. He was landing hooks everywhere. The play he made where he hooks in Reckless and then Crescent finish off 3 people, that was one of the reasons Millennium actually won the game. And that really shows how important Jairi is and how well he's played.
Yeah, fantastic stuff from those guys, but of course, then there is one player who has stood out and really impressed all of us this weekend. So this week, our most valuable player, it goes to Super Hot Crew's Mixer for their supreme support play.
And just Mixer in general, the hooks he did on Fresh. I've barely seen anything like this. Every single time he landed a hook, there was a kill for Super Hot Crew, and he just kept doing it over and over again, hitting key targets. His anti-play versus Copenhagen Wolves as well, spot on, landing the tippers, landing the stunts. And his laning phase with Mr. Rales, that is one of the best bottom lanes we have in Europe.
Yeah, 0-0-19 on Thresh, and of course you add that to the 14-15 over the 2 games for Mr. Rales. What a partnership that has been. So congratulations for Mixer for being this week's MVP, and it really is great to see these supports. This week, the supports have been crazy.
They have been spot on pretty much every single game. We had support stepping up, making big plays all around.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. So if you guys have been watching, don't go anywhere because there is still more action to come. Of course, the European Challenger Series final is about to take place right here with a best-of-3 series to decide if Ninjas in Pajamas or Cloud9 Eclipse will be taking home the title. It all begins in 3.5.
Okay, so SK, they can say they're going in again.
Oh, Alex is got out, has to use the intervention. It's not going to last long enough. He does manage to get himself a kill. Will he get away? No! Candy Panda flashes for it, gets the kill. Edward taking low. Final Nexus turret drops. And SK Gaming, they're going to end the game right here. They've taken down Fnatic, and now they're going to take